Hello! I am your host, Kazhik, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the first installment of the Spangled Drongo by Herrick, a dramatic reading. Written by, quote, Australia's most popular poet for young people, end quote, Herrick, the Spangled Drongo tells the tale of young Sam Slater and his love for soccer. Winner of the New South Wales Premier's Literary Award, The Spangled Drongo is truly an Australian literary masterpiece that deserves like no other to be celebrated worldwide for its glory. Now, grab a warm mug of cocoa, sit back, relax, and enjoy the utter brilliance that is The Spangled Drongo by Herrick. Chapter 1. Sam Loves Soccer. The last game of the season. We should have won, could have won, would have won the last game of the season. The final. The trophy sitting on a table on the sideline. We would have won at 1-1 with 2 minutes to go. My friend Goosebones Snyder, real name Herman, but no one calls him that, gets the ball just outside the penalty box, dribbles past 2 defenders, and is about to shoot when Goosebones' dad, obviously excited, but very stupidly yells, "Come on, Herman, come on!" Now, Goosebones' dad never comes to soccer except today because it's the final, and so Goose never gets anyone calling him Herman from the sideline, because we all know better, don't we? Anyway, Goose is about to score, and he hears someone yell, "Come on, Herman, come on!" And at that vital moment, he looks up to see who the heck is calling him Herman, and the ball bounces badly. And before Goosebones, our top goal scorer, can recover, the goalkeeper dives on the ball. No one looks at Goose, but 11 players of Browntown United and the coach all look at Goose's dad, who knows something is wrong, but isn't quite sure what. Herman. Who'd call their child Herman when Goosebones is a lot better? Superstitious. Do I need to tell you that in the last minute of the last game of the season, right after Goose's miss, the other team, the dreaded Smithville Warriors, scored the winning goal? The losing goal for us. We all walked off, shook hands, took one last look at the Federation Trophy and Goose's dad, and went home, our coach saying, "Next season, kids, next season." I went home and sat in my room. I knew it wasn't Goose's fault, or his dad's. It was mine. The problem was I hadn't put my left shoe on first. I hadn't worn number 4 jersey. I hadn't pulled my right sock higher, and I hadn't said Billy Bow Bum Dum Cow Stew 5 seconds before the kickoff. Every game this season I'd said that, and most times we'd won, or drawn, and only lost 2, both to the Warriors, and we'd only lost to them because I'm sure their number 9, Big David Dalton, had his own superstitions he said before every game. I'm sure, because once I heard him say, "Rip the head off a sheep, rip the head off a duck. Spiders slink and creep, bring my team good luck." Everyone knows a 4-line rhyme always beats Billy Bow Bum Dum Cow Stew, so we didn't stand a chance. Next season I'd work on my poetry. For soccer's sake. Summer. On Sunday, Goose came over, and we played shots in the backyard. Goose had 5 shots, and scored every time. No matter how much I dived, I could never get near his powerhouse drives. Once, just before he kicked, I thought of yelling, "Hey Herman!" But I wouldn't do that to my friend, would I? Me and Goose talked about school and food and long summer weekends without soccer, which, as you may have guessed, we are both obsessed with. We talked about lots of things, but neither Goose nor me had enough heart and strength to mention yesterday's game. Yesterday wasn't yesterday anymore. It was last season. We talked about next season. Goosebones. I know what you're thinking. I do. You're wondering how on earth Goosebones got his name, and why he likes it, and why teachers, parents, even our principal, Mr. Jackson, also known as Jacko the Wacko, calls Goose Goosebones. And the truth is, no one knows. No one except Goosebones, and he's not telling. He said he's never telling. All he says when asked is, call me whatever you like. I don't care. Just never, never call me Herman. So we all call him Goosebones, or Goose. It's a strange name for an 11-year-old, but let's face it, it's better than Herman. Goose and Jessica. 2 days after our disaster, Goose, my friend, met my new next-door neighbor, Jessica Bowles. Now, Goose and I only ever thought about soccer until Jessica leant over our fence and said, "Hello, can I play too?" I've already explained how Goose would score goals against me almost at will. Well, he was also brilliant in goals. I'd spend all afternoon trying to tuck the ball in the corner or lob one over his head, or just blast one through him. But no, not a goal. And what happens when Jessica comes over? She has 5 shots for 5 goals. Goose can't stop one. And yes, Jessica is a great shot, but it looked to me that Goose was falling in love instead of falling on the ball. It was embarrassing. Jessica scores her 5th goal with a perfect drive, and Goose, who dived too late, gets off the ground, runs the length of my backyard to hug, yes, hug Jessica. And yes, I know soccer players always hug after a goal, but you never hug your opponents, do you? My school. I should tell you about myself. I'm Sam Slater. I'm 11 years old. I go to Browntown Primary School, and my teacher is Mr. Brainstorm. Mr. Brain Drain. I mean, Mr. Lame Brain. All right. The truth. Mr. Raindorf. He's a pretty good teacher, actually. He uses sport to teach us maths and geography and spelling, and practically anything. For example, instead of saying what's 6 plus 6 plus 2, he says if the Sydney Swans score 2 goals and 2 behinds, how many points? Or, what are the national colours of Brazil? Me and Goose know that because we love the Brazilian soccer team, yellow and blue. Mr. Raindorf is from Germany, and he loves soccer, like us. Only he supports teams with really great names, like Borussia Dortmund and TSV 1860 Munich. And he supports the German national team, colours white, yellow, red and black. But he wants Australia to make the World Cup, just like everyone else in the class. He also coaches our school soccer team, the Brownies. Yes, I know. What a name. But it's better than what the opposition always calls us. Names like Brown Eyes, or Brown Pants 'cause you're scared, or How Now, Brown Cows. But we don't mind. We've got a great team. There's Goose, and me, of course. Sarah Baines, Alex and Nico Sanchez, Big Nobby Charlton, Tony Goodall, Fat Pat Bailey in goals, Nicholas Dimitri and Andy French in defence, and finally the twins, Peter and Peter Smith. Yes, Peter and Peter. What sort of parents would call a brother and sister the same name? It's impossible on the field, too. We're always saying, quick, pass it to Peter, and someone passes it to Peter. Or someone says, let Peter take the throw-in, and they both fight over the ball. After 3 games of total confusion, Sarah Baines, the only one in our team with brains, started calling Peter Pete. So simple, so obvious, and it only took us 3 weeks to work it out. Ronaldo. Yes, sorry, I was telling you about myself, not soccer or school. But, as you can see, they both play a big part in my life. Now, the hard part. My family. My family. Well, there's my dog, Ronaldo. He's named after the best soccer player in the world, Ronaldo, the Brazilian striker. And Ronaldo, my dog, is pretty good at soccer too. Ever since he was a pup, I've gently kicked the ball near him and he dribbles the ball with his head. Amazing! The dog is a natural. And when I kick it high, he leaps up and tries to bite it. He's great. He's a wonderful defender too. When I play in the backyard, I dribble around him and he turns and chases me, runs through my legs, trips me up, and dribbles the ball away. I love Ronaldo. He comes to Browntown United games as well. We've made a brown and blue jersey for him, and he's our team mascot. He runs along the sideline during the game. He's even learned to bark when we score. And I'm teaching him to howl when the opposition scores. I think it suits the mood, don't you? So, that's my family. Ronaldo the Wonder Dog, and me. My family. Yes, I forgot. I was telling you about my family. Well, I live in a little house with a big backyard, good for soccer, and my bedroom is great. I climb a ladder to get to it. It's a loft with a low ceiling and cute little windows that look out over the garden. I've put up some bird feeders just outside my windows, and every morning a king parrot comes and has breakfast with me. I tell him about school, and my friends, and old Mr. Lamebrain and his soccer tricks. I've named the parrot Parrot. Pretty original, eh? He's a good listener. He cocks his head, makes a chirp or two, and keeps on eating. Parrot has been part of my family for years, ever since the accident. He came to visit one morning after the accident, and he's been here, rain or shine, ever since. So that's my family. A dog named Ronaldo, and a parrot named Parrot. Aunt Amshara. Well, okay. There is one more person in my family. My auntie, Aunt Amshara. She took me in, you know, when I had nowhere to go. She wasn't an auntie I saw very much when I was young. She was always travelling in India. She'd send us postcards of markets and temples and little kids playing in rivers. And Amshara is not her real name. She used to be Auntie Margaret, or Madge as my mum called her. She changed her name to Amshara when she returned from a commune in India. She said Amshara meant goddess of art, and Auntie is an artist. Well, she paints strange colours and shapes on canvas anyway. They look like rejects from a Year 2 art class to me, but people buy them. She sells quite a lot, actually, and she's always taking me to art openings. She introduces me to her friends as Samuel, my little angel, which makes me cringe real bad. I put out my hand to shake theirs and say in my deepest voice, "It's Sam, actually. Sam Slater." But I like Auntie, and I love the art openings. Not for the paintings or anything, but because there's always heaps of food. Auntie would be off talking art, and I'd scoff as much as I could. I'd even fill a plastic bag with food for Ronaldo back home. And I can stay up as late as I want. Auntie has no idea of time. She talks art for hours. I usually just sleep on a lounge until the party is over. Then she carries me to the car, and I wake in the morning with a squashed bag of food in my pocket. Ronaldo doesn't mind. He eats it all anyway. The photo. I've got a photo on my desk of Mum and Dad. We're on holidays at the beach. Mum and Dad have got their arms around each other, smiling for the camera, and I remember after I took this photo they kissed, real quick, and laughed. Then Mum lay down on the towel while Dad and I played beach soccer. I won, too. 3-0. Dad always let me win. That's the sort of dad he was. We'd shake hands afterwards and he'd say, "You're too fast for me, my boy." And I'd say, "Maybe next time, Dad." I miss our games real bad. I miss Mum, too. I look at this photo every night. The babysitter. Yes, I am 11 years old. And yes, I have a babysitter. I tell Auntie I'm too old for a babysitter, but she refuses to listen. So, once a week, on Friday nights, when Auntie is teaching her Indian art for beginners class, I have to let Rhonda Humphreys share my home with me. It's not too bad, really. Rhonda is 16 years old. She lives 3 houses down and is always, I mean always, reading. She loves books. She probably sleeps with a book instead of a doll. Not that I sleep with a doll. So, Friday night, it's pizza for dinner and Rhonda for company. Rhonda gets so involved in her book that she forgets I'm here, and she's supposed to be looking after me. It's okay, though. I act helpful, tell Rhonda to go to the study, where she'll be more comfortable. Then I put on a soccer video, get some corn chips from the kitchen, and me and Ronaldo watch soccer all night. I'm supposed to be in bed by 9 p.m, but Rhonda always forgets. She's still reading, so I go to bed at 10:30 p.m, just before Auntie comes home. It's amazing. Auntie's car door slams, Rhonda rushes upstairs to see if I'm in bed before Auntie gets inside, then slowly walks downstairs, saying, "Miss Slater, you're home. Sam's been asleep for hours. I was just checking on him." What a fake! But still, it's better than a babysitter who wants to actually do things with you. Ronaldo likes Rhonda too, so she can't be too bad. Auntie Amshara, goddess of food. Auntie loves food. She loves food almost as much as she loves art. Auntie loves Indian food. She says, "If it's good enough for 800 million Indians, it's good enough for us." So, every night we have rice. Big bowls of rice. And then Auntie brings out the extras, the treats. Squishy brown soupy porridgey stuff called dal. Bright orange-red chicken tandoori that I call sunburnt chicken. And slices of banana and cucumber sprinkled with coconut. And a bowl of yogurt. And sometimes a really thick, gooey chutney with bits of mango in it. And instead of white sliced bread, we have naan, which is not pieces of my grandmother, but a flat, squashed, dimply bread shaped like a shoe. Now, you might be thinking, yuck, or how do I eat it? But it's all delicious. I love it. First, I get the rice and pile it on my plate. A rice mountain. On one side, I scoop a whole lot of dal. A brown, soupy river running down the snowy mountain. Then, 2 pieces of tandoori chicken, 2 fire-hot lava boulders surrounded by cool logs of chutney. And sprinkled over this food mountain is little bits of banana and cucumber and coconut. Now I scoop bits of everything into the naan shoe, roll it up tight, and eat every single bite. Curry. Auntie and I are having dinner in her studio, in front of her newest painting titled Curry Sandwich. It's all brown and orange paint splotches in between a white border flecked with grey dots. Auntie's paintings are getting weirder. We're eating a chicken curry from Auntie's favourite big bowls. I tell Auntie about school. She listens and says, "School is like curry, hot and fierce, and dangerous, smelly too, but good for you." I change the subject to soccer, and sure enough, Auntie says, "Soccer reminds me of curry. Unpredictable, passionate. Some people can't keep away from it. Others never go near." I tell Auntie that the holidays are coming up, and maybe we should go to the beach. Auntie says, "I once went to a beach in India. There was a restaurant built right on the water. I had a curry, a huge, delicious vegetable curry." Auntie is always like this when she's painting. Obsessed is the word. I give in. I say, "It's a good curry, Auntie." And what does she say?
Oh, Sam, let's not talk about curry. How was your day at school?
We eat and look at her painting. Curry. Yoga. Don't get me wrong, I love Auntie. She's just unusual. Like curry. But we get along fine, and I know how to please her. I join her for yoga early in the morning in her studio with the smell of incense and the sound of hypnotic Indian music. We sit on the rug and twist our legs in strange angles and positions. Auntie hums quietly, closes her eyes, and floats away, probably to India. I close my eyes and try to think of nothing, which means I think of soccer. I recall great goals from years ago, and games where I've played well, or badly, and the colour of the opposition's jerseys. Auntie keeps humming and floating along while I play my soccer life over and over in my head. Auntie moves her arms slowly and straightens her shoulders. A smile softens her face, and I know she's a million miles away, while I recall last year's final and the killer goal from Big David Dalton, and how I felt sick in my stomach as we walked off the field. After a while, Auntie stands and stretches and says how refreshed and relaxed she feels. I get up exhausted from the 1,000 games of soccer played over and over in Auntie's studio on the soccer field in my head. End Chapter 1. And that's the end of the first chapter of this ridiculous dramatic reading of The Spangled Drongo by Stephen Herrick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and had a few laughs along the way. If for some reason you all actually like what I'm doing here and there's enough interest, then the remaining 5 chapters will eventually be done and up on YouTube as well. This has been lots of fun for me, so more dramatic readings will probably be popping up here and there on my channel, but they will likely be actual readings, not the silly voice I've been putting on for this one. I'm pretty sure I meant to say like, comment, and subscribe now, so there's that out of the way. And if you thought this was funny, good, terrible, or cringeworthy, anything, by all means, please spread it around to everyone. This has been a Kazhik Narrates production. See you next time, folks.